In today's fast-paced world, motivation is often viewed as the key to success. Whether it's achieving personal goals, advancing in a career, or maintaining a positive mindset, we are constantly told to stay motivated and keep pushing forward. From self-help books and motivational podcasts to inspirational speeches and viral social media posts, motivation has become a ubiquitous force in our daily lives. But can we become addicted to motivation? In the same way that substances or behaviors can become addictive, can our reliance on external sources of motivation hinder our progress and well-being? This script explores the phenomenon of the addiction of motivation, shedding light on the psychological mechanisms behind it, the reasons why people become dependent on motivation, and the potential pitfalls of this addiction. Before we delve into the addiction of motivation, it's essential to understand what motivation is. Motivation is the psychological drive that compels individuals to take action toward achieving their goals, desires, or needs. It is the fuel that pushes us to work hard, pursue dreams, and overcome obstacles. There are two main types of motivation. One is intrinsic motivation. This refers to motivation that comes from within. It's the drive to engage in an activity because it's inherently enjoyable, satisfying, or fulfilling. For example, someone who enjoys painting may be intrinsically motivated to create art simply because the act itself brings them joy. Second one is extrinsic motivation. This type of motivation comes from external factors, such as rewards, recognition, or approval from others. For instance, someone may be motivated to work hard at their job because of the promise of a promotion or a paycheck. While both forms of motivation are crucial for personal growth and achievement, it's important to recognize that extrinsic motivation can sometimes lead to unhealthy dependencies. When people constantly seek external validation or motivation, they may begin to rely on these external sources to maintain their drive, which can lead to an addictive cycle. In recent years, the availability of motivational content has exploded. Books, YouTube channels, podcasts, and social media accounts dedicated to providing daily doses of motivation have become incredibly popular. Figures like Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Les Brown have built careers on inspiring millions of people to take action and achieve their goals. The messages of these motivational speakers are powerful and can inspire positive change. But the question remains, can this content become addictive? Motivational content often provides a temporary emotional high, a sense of empowerment that can drive individuals to take action. However, like any form of entertainment or instant gratification, this emotional high can fade, leading individuals to crave more. It's this cycle of seeking motivational content to feel good and take action, only to experience a loss of momentum, that can create an unhealthy reliance. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, people may turn to motivational content to fill the void of unfulfilled desires, pushing them to constantly chase the next high of inspiration. To understand the addiction of motivation, we must explore the psychological mechanisms at play. The human brain is wired to seek rewards. When we receive praise, recognition, or even the promise of success, our brains release dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. Dopamine reinforces behaviors by making us feel good about achieving goals or receiving positive reinforcement. This reward system is essential for survival, but it can also create a cycle of dependency. When individuals engage with motivational content, they often experience a rush of dopamine, which reinforces the behavior. Over time, they may become conditioned to seek out that rush regularly. The problem arises when the motivation becomes a temporary fix rather than a lasting drive to take meaningful action. This dependency on external motivation can be compared to the way individuals can become addicted to substances like drugs or alcohol. Just as a person may seek a quick high from a substance, someone may turn to motivational content to achieve a momentary emotional boost. Unfortunately, like any addiction, the more a person consumes motivational content, the less effective it may become in creating long-term change or lasting motivation. While motivation can be a powerful force for positive change, excessive reliance on it can hinder personal growth. The addiction to motivation often creates a cycle of seeking inspiration without taking meaningful action. People may constantly consume motivational material, but they struggle to make real progress because they are waiting for the next dose of motivation to kick in. This behavior is known as analysis paralysis or information overload. Instead of taking consistent, focused action, individuals may become trapped in a cycle of seeking more motivational content, reading more books, or watching more videos without actually doing the work necessary to achieve their goals. Another consequence of motivation addiction is the inability to build intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the drive that comes from within, and it is often more sustainable in the long run. However, when people rely too heavily on external sources of motivation, they may neglect the development of their own internal drive. As a result, they may struggle to stay motivated in the absence of external triggers. A significant risk of constantly consuming motivational content is the tendency to compare oneself to others. Many motivational speakers and influencers present an image of success that is often unattainable or idealized. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy or a constant desire to be better or more successful. Social media exacerbates this issue, as users are bombarded with curated images of success, happiness, and achievement. The constant comparison to others can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt, undermining the very motivation people are seeking. Instead of focusing on their own progress, individuals may become fixated on the success of others, which can diminish their sense of self-worth and motivation. Additionally, the pressure to be perfect can also arise from constant motivational content. Many motivational messages emphasize the importance of working hard, never giving up, and constantly striving for excellence. While these messages can be empowering, they can also create unrealistic expectations, leading to burnout and frustration when people inevitably encounter setbacks or failures. The pursuit of perfection, fueled by external motivation, can be both draining and counterproductive. The key to avoiding the addiction of motivation is to strike a balance between external and internal sources of motivation. While motivational content can be a useful tool for inspiration, it should not be the sole driving force behind your actions. Develop intrinsic motivation. Focus on cultivating internal drives and passions. This means finding activities, goals, or pursuits that bring you joy and fulfillment, rather than relying on external validation. When you're intrinsically motivated, you're more likely to stay committed to your goals even when external motivation wanes. Take action. Motivation is often the result of action, not the cause of it. Rather than waiting for the perfect moment or the next motivational boost, start taking small, consistent steps toward your goals. Action breeds motivation, and the more you do, the more motivated you will feel. Limit consumption of motivational content. Set boundaries around how much motivational content you consume. While it can be helpful to seek inspiration from time to time, it's important not to rely on it as a crutch. Instead, focus on taking actionable steps and developing self-discipline. Practice self-compassion. Understand that motivation ebbs and flows. It's normal to experience periods of low motivation, and it's important not to be too hard on yourself during those times. Be kind to yourself, and recognize that setbacks are a natural part of the journey toward success. The addiction of motivation is a growing phenomenon in today's world, fueled by the constant availability of motivational content and the desire for instant gratification. While motivation is a powerful force, it can become addictive when individuals rely too heavily on external sources for their drive and inspiration. To break free from the addiction of motivation, it's essential to develop intrinsic motivation, take consistent action, and avoid the trap of comparison and perfectionism. By finding a balance between external and internal motivation, individuals can cultivate lasting motivation that drives them toward their goals without falling into the cycle of dependency. Ultimately, true motivation comes from within. While external sources of inspiration can provide a helpful push, it's the internal drive, self-discipline, and commitment to action that lead to real, lasting change.